Hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara and netnetradio.com out of Tijuana. Today, Light Talk and I are joined by Kay Loggins, the artist behind Time Warp. How you doing, Kay?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Sick.
Of course.
So your latest record, Spyro World, was released on Leaving Records in the summer of 2022. Kay, were you able to evade the great 2022 travel Armageddon during the holiday season? What are you up to right now?
Yeah, I usually stay in New York in the
Sick.
holidays.
Yeah.
And
So-
sometimes it can be really isolating.
Yeah.
But this year, actually, there were a lot of orphans here, so we had a lovely time together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you like full on like live in New York? For some reason, I thought you were from LA.
Nope, New York City, baby.
Oh, really? What the heck? Okay.
Why do you think I live in LA?
I don't know, dude. Like,
Ew.
I feel like I saw you like play like a Leaving Record show or something maybe
did,
at one
yeah,
time.
yeah, I
and
guess
I was
that,
like,
yeah.
oh, maybe she's local.
Yeah, I guess.
Anytime this happens, somebody plays one of those shows, they get LA coded in our brains.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Leaving is very LA, but I tried to live in LA once and I lasted about 3 weeks. So
LA's
no offense. I love LA. I like visiting.
Yeah. LA can be a rough city to live in though. Yeah. I don't know.
When I go Hollywood, I'll move there.
Oh, hell yeah. Sick. So Kate, like in general, like what have your routines and endeavors been like the past couple months? Like, is there anything you're hoping to bring to 2023? Like anything different you want to?
Oh God.
That's kind of a big question, huh?
I don't feel like a routine girl. I'm really
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that's like ADD or just like, like my sleep schedule's all over the place. I guess like part of it is like I worked retail hours for like almost a decade for a long time. And like that screwed up my whole routine. And now I freelance and just do, creative stuff. And I never really built those skills up. So I guess 2023, I'd like to maybe get a little more consistent with the time I wake up and get my day going.
Yeah.
And then I tweeted, my New Year's resolution is to be more elegant.
Hell yeah.
And poop on stuff.
Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. It's about time. So I guess, do you have any hobbies or anything besides music? Or I know you do like comedy too. Do you have anything besides those like main two things?
I mean, yeah, I guess the line between a hobby and a passion and work is really thin. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's like not that stuff. That's just like a weird.
Okay, at least I could rephrase it this, like a serious leisure pursuit. Perhaps.
Yeah. I'm pretty boring. I mean, I'm like addicted to my phone. So there's all kind of stuff going on there. I like
What's your screen time looking like?
Oh God. I don't even know if I'm comfortable sharing that.
I know I shouldn't even have asked because I know that like the question's probably going to come back to me.
I am going to look at it. Okay, it's pretty high. I will say this. My screen time is down 37% from last week. God
bless.
That's what we like to hear.
Congrats.
Okay, here's one. I've been watching a lot of classic video game YouTube like history.
Oh, dude, that's sick. Yeah.
Videos.
Oh, okay. What kind?
Yeah.
What kind?
Well, I mean, I love Tim Rogers.
Yes. Oh my God.
yeah,
The action.
I
I
love Tim
watch those
Rogers.
still repeatedly before going to bed.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching the Cyberpunk one right now.
But but now the algorithm is like serving me up these like more let's just say less charismatic individuals. But it's still interesting. It's just a little more deadpan, kind of straightforward. I watched like an hour and a half long video about Super Mario World the other day. Yeah, like I'm not like a big gamer, like especially recent stuff. I'm kind of just like a Nintendo girl, but like I do enjoy the like retro stuff and sort of the like I just like when there's like putting like personalities and individuals into it. Like I like hearing about Koji Kondo like talking to the team and stuff. And like
the two guys I love are it's Noah Caldwell Gervais, who over the course of like 10 years he's gotten really good And I still love that he'll end every episode with like 18 minutes of just reading names from his book, thanking people.
Yeah.
And then I've followed Lucas Racevic for about 5 or 6 years, and after about 2 or 3 years, he got really good at like covering games made between 2000 and 2008 that were all, he covers a real particular strain of games and knows how to do it. And he's become a historian on that.
Cool.
And
I should check that out.
Gotta give shout out to those guys.
I listened to this really interesting podcast. Well, the podcast, I guess it's called Stuff You Should Know. So I just listen to that at work all the time. Nice, like hour-long episodes. But they had this one about the beginnings of Nintendo or something. And I guess there was like a big like video game crash in North America. Did you guys know about that in like the 80s?
Yeah.
The 80s crash?
Yeah, they like, like moms and stuff started like villainizing, like, or parents started like villainizing video games, saying that they were like, anyways, you guys know about it.
And there was a recession, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was like a whole
terrible
thing.
They talk about that in this video. That's why they delayed the release of the Super Famicom here.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, the super and anyways, they eventually needed to find a way to like reintroduce video games to the United States that like weren't like Sega and like whatever. And so they had a robot. Did you guys know about the robot?
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. Sick.
A great, terrible Smash character. Do not enjoy playing with him.
Rob's fine.
Yeah.
I was never good with him. Maybe that's why I'm a bully against him. I did Samus and Kirby.
Dude, I just had never known where Rob was from in like Smash until I listened to this podcast.
It's like edutainment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's like what they tried to like market it as. Yeah. It's interesting.
I actually have been playing Smash a little more recently. I didn't for a long time, but one of my comedy friends is like a religious player, so he's kicking my ass. But
yeah, I feel that. I'm terrible at video games.
When I lived in the co-ops there, one of our people that we know, Tom, did you ever meet Cyrus?
Yeah, dude. Cyrus follows me on everything. And I'm just like, hell yeah, Cyrus.
That guy. He would play Ike and basically force me for an hour to play Mario with him and just lose 19 out of 20 games. The one time I win, it's because he falls off. But
I can't do the Fire Emblem serious sword guys. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I want a novelty. I want a fun novelty character that doesn't take itself too seriously.
So who's your go-to?
I main Ness.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I love Villager. I love Duck Hunt.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got some weird guys. Yeah. I love Mr. Game & Watch. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
I have watched some people destroy with Villager. Absolutely.
Yeah, Villager. Yeah, the tree will get you.
The tree is so bloodthirsty, and because you can grab the tree back in and pop it out. Oh my god!
Oh, you can grab it out.
You are able to hold the tree, if I recall. You're able to do that.
Well, the people I'm playing against don't know how to do that, so I guess that's good for me.
Oh.
Anyway,
don't tell them that part. My go-to is usually Link because I had like a weird obsession with like that game Zelda when it was on it was Majora's Mask or something on the N64. I love that game Zelda. Yeah, that game Zelda. Game called Zelda.
Well, I didn't mention Young Link, who's my historical main, but I've been trying to like weed myself off of him.
Yeah, I feel like Young Link is like my main. But do you play? You have a Switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you play? What's the latest one? Damn, I can't.
Ultimate.
Breath of the Wild.
Ultimate. Oh, the latest Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yes, Breath of the Wild. I did play it. I'm not a completionist. I didn't like do all the. I just got through the game.
Yeah, I feel that. I felt bad about like rushing through like the main like storyline. So I tried to do some of the side quests because I was like, damn, I'm beating this too fast. You know what I mean? And like I felt bad. I was like, dude, if I beat this, I'm not gonna play it anymore. So, and then I never beat it, but.
Yeah, you can see how long your friends play these games on like the friend list, and there's certain friends I have where I'm like, how are you spending like 150 hours?
Yeah. I don't know why they have that on there. It's like kind of like, damn, you know what I mean? But
it's a good game.
Yeah, it's
all right.
Yeah, so we kind of mentioned comedy, but can you tell us about K Night Live? Like what is that?
K Night Live is a bizarro late night talk show concept. It's funny. I saying I'm like not a gamer, and then I keep talking about. I actually, it was like last year, around this time last year, I was sick. I was like newly single, sick with COVID, just really depressed, like really down in the dumps. This record was like getting pushed back and stuff. Anyway, I decided I ended up watching Twitch a lot, which like I think I honestly think a lot of the Twitch culture is like pretty cringe and kind of annoying, and like I don't like how people use the medium that much.
Yeah.
But there was a couple guys who I like, enjoy. I don't know. I watched like Hassan Piker a lot. I know people, whatever. He's hot. Who cares? Anyway, I really wanted to replay Earthbound, which I hadn't played in like 20 years.
Did you have it on the SNES there?
I did as a child. I rented it. And
okay.
I remember when you rented it, it came with the strategy guide. No, but it was Tim Rogers. He has this video about 1994, and he talks about Earthbound. Anyway, it was the soundtrack. So, because like I looked up the soundtrack info, and like the composers talked about like all these influences, because the whole game is like this like Americana. It's like a 60s Americana idyllic sort of situation, like from a Japanese perspective. So the soundtrack, which is like legendary, has all these like influences they listed out in this like article. It's like Harry Nilsson and Randy Newman and the Beach Boys and like Disney movie soundtracks, and then like Brian Eno, and then like dub, reggae, techno. There was just all this stuff, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So I started playing the game, and I was like, this is something new and vulnerable, like being on camera, talking this way and playing through. But I just decided to do it where I would like play a chunk of the game for the night and then stop and like dive into the influences of the soundtrack. So I would do like a night on Randy Newman and a night on the Beach Boys. And this is like probably 7 or 8 episodes. I never actually finished the game because it the problem with Twitch is you get dinged if you play music. Like you can't play copywritten music. So I had to find like YouTube clips that were like not DMCA free, and then I started, people really enjoyed those, and I ended up finding like concert clips and stuff, because if you play a concert clip, the copyright's not gonna catch it. And then I just started playing like full concerts. I was like, why don't we just like watch a concert on Twitch and just like chill and hang out? And there were like people in the chat that were like watching it regularly. And then I started putting effects over the chat. I mean, over the concerts, like video and audio effects. And then I started putting video and audio effects over me. And then I started like kind of turning it into a character. Yeah. That's like this sort of like bizarro, loud, annoying girl who's like a late night show host. And she's like really, So anyway, it just kind of like turned into this like expressionist, like collage stream show where like most of it was actually like nothing. And I was just like staring at the camera with like ambient music playing and like screaming and stuff. And I don't know, it was really fun. And then Spirit World was about to come out, and I was like, this is cringe. I can't be Twitch streaming. And this is a bad look or something. So I stopped. And then after the record sort of died down a little, I've been getting back into comedy and acting and stuff. And I thought like, well, why don't we like use these effects and all these templates and shit that I had set up from this stream and sort of make it into like a show? Because I like I've done some like stand up. I wouldn't say it's like my forte. It didn't feel like the right like use of my skills or my sense of humor or something. So this kind of is like, there's the technical aspect and the production aspect, and there's like all these things that some comics like don't really have the resources or skills to like do. And also in New York specifically, like there were these like shows that would be on public access. First Chris Gethard show, and then
my brother loved Chris Gethard.
Yeah, Chris Gethard, and then later there was the special without Brett Davis. And I'm a big fan of both of them, and I'm not trying to like compare or like say that I'm like in following that at all. But like what I mean is like there were these sort of there were these like institutions that people could do interesting things on as guests that weren't just like going to a comedy show and doing it in front of people with a mic. Like there's just certain things you can do with cameras and like a set that's like different. And there just isn't really like they're all gone. So like Brett moved to LA and Chris obviously like doing his thing. And so it was just like all these things coming together and kind of turned it into this like, I don't know. It was wild. I can't believe he pulled it off. I was like really worried it was going to like technically fail or be not funny or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm ranting about it now, but
would you say that you lean closer as a host or performer to Space Ghost or Eric Andre? Kind of there.
Oh, that's really interesting. I would say Space Ghost, but like I think one of the things we were trying to avoid is to make it too much like Eric Andre, because Eric is very antagonistic towards the guest.
Yes.
And I think if I was to do, and that came up when we were like writing it and producing it. And I just, I thought it would be funnier if people were antagonistic towards me, the host.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have like, that's why Chelsea was like being a bitch to me on purpose. And that's why like at the ending, like everybody's like, like yelling at me. And so it's like that level of Eric Andre, like absurdism and vitriol, but pointed back towards me. And honestly, I think that's also like a Conan O'Brien sort of thing. Like he would always be very self-deprecating in a way that I found really funny. But yeah, I think Space Ghost more in terms of the like, Space Ghost like makes the guests feel awkward by like being silent and not by like
the silence of a lot of Coast to Coast is like the greatest gift in comedy that gave. And Tom's editing on that I think stands up very high.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch some of that.
Adult Swim, and I saw all of the Space Ghost just before Eric Andre had started, and immediately got the connection there, but was like still coming back to Space Ghost years later when I gotten bored of Andre.
Legendary stuff. I mean, I love Eric Andre show. I think it's great, but it was just like, we don't need to do that. You know, it's like, I want to do something different and a little more like still absurd, but a little more down to earth. And my character is like a little more, I don't know, just like less in control of the situation, I think.
Especially, how did you do like the on the street? Because there's the one big on the street segment.
That's what I wanted to ask too. Yeah,
go viral, but that's where Thomas and I were both like, "Oh, we should go."
Yeah, that's like the first time like I found, I don't know, your like comedy stuff or something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a newish thing for a lot of people. I mean, it's like I think a lot of people like were maybe surprised by it, but I did stuff like this in like high school and college, and I just sort of like I think the way social media was like 10 years ago, I think it kind of forced everybody to like be a one-trick pony and be very focused on like personal brand. And that really like gave me a lot of brainworm. So I think I ran away from it, just like, no, I have to be serious. And now it's like, oh, actually it's fine. Like everyone's actually a scared little baby. They're all like lying about being competent and whatever. It's like fake it till you make it, right? Wait, what about the video though?
So what was it like just getting those clips? How did you just know it's like, okay, I'm going to go down here to Times Square? And were you looking for the Steely Dan answer when you were doing it?
I think I was a little. Well, it actually was a Friendsgiving a few years ago. I don't know if I remember these guys' names, but if Ryan is listening to this, which he probably isn't, please remind me. But there were these two Australian guys that were at this Friendsgiving that I didn't know. And they were both kind of drunk. And they asked us this question, like, what's the greatest American band? And we were like fascinated because it is like a really tough question to answer. And I just really like people's answers whenever it's come up here and there. I kind of like to, make people squirm a little bit by answering it. And like, you don't have to know a ton of music knowledge to like know that these bands are British, but it is kind of a fun angle. Like I didn't want to make it too much like early 2000s style where like the punchline is that the interviewee is dumber than me, like it's not about that. It's more just like I tried to like endorse and validate every answer.
That's cool. Yeah.
You might not agree with, I
feel like progressive jaywalking. to say.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's well, also like the man on the street thing is kind of a trope now on TikTok. And
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say like yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
that's kind of annoying to me a little bit, but like just because I don't think that it doesn't feel like good faith. It feels like they're either the two shticks are like you're either kind of an asshole or you're doing this like influencer co-promotional like the how much do you pay for rent sort of thing. It's just boring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This to me is more like it feels like early like like Conan, Letterman, like they would do these things, that's like the core of what that stuff is.
Yes.
No, yours was like
I mean
oh no, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I felt like yours was like like different than what you see on majority of like TikTok and stuff with like the man on the street skits and everything.
Yeah, and it's like it's more heavily edited. Like that was I knew going into it that a lot of the humor was going to be in making the editing really fast paced. Just sort of like I mean, it's not really like going for anything or going for an answer because with like Times Square, it's like you get who you get. And like all I could do is just approach as many people as I could and try to just get them to talk to me in the first place. Which is kind of hard at first, but after you do like 5 or 6, it actually you just like, okay, I'm a clown right now.
And you kind of like open up to it. Yeah.
But yeah, I was really fascinated. And there's like I'm not remembering the names right now, but there's like a couple answers that people are like surprised that no one said. There's not a lot that we cut out though. Like there's barely any answers like that aren't in there. But if you watch the full version on K Night Live, that's like 9 minutes long. I also asked them what's like the greatest American brand and the greatest female solo artist of all time. Which I thought initially was going to be this kind of gotcha thing where people would like seem misogynist because they couldn't think of a woman or something. But we ended up getting some really fun answers and people actually had like really interesting things to say about that. And surprisingly, a lot of people are Canadian. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh no.
Also, a lot of the people in that video are Canadian tourists, actually. Like most of the people that sound like they're American. Yeah. Like there's people who have like obvious accents and stuff, but like, yeah, there were like, I'd say at least half of the people were like Canadian tourists. I don't know why September tourists.
They're coming and taking our Canadian tourists jobs from us. I don't like that. I don't like that Canadians would do that and take our tourists.
I'm all for it. I think that they're an incredible people and I think they have a lot of spirit and a lot of chutzpah.
Hell yeah.
You bring some good points up. And then oh wait, no, you go, and Thomas, you go.
I was just gonna say, do you see yourself doing any more like I don't know, on the street like bits or anything, skits?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep doing the show. So, yeah, I kind of don't want to do another one of those where I'm just like approaching people. I was talking with some friends about this last night. Actually, I think I want to like do a thing where. Again, not to go too much on the Letterman Conan thing, but I do love their stuff. So all the field segments on both of those shows were always a favorite thing. Like go to a business and like try to work there for a day kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, that'd be like, sick.
Yeah. I also thought about going back to either my high school or my college and like trying to get an interview with the dean or something and like, but like kind of do it like teenage angst, like interview them with how I was feeling then.
Yeah.
Just be like how does it feel to be like a part of the fucking system, man? Like that kind of thing. Maybe I'm giving too much away, but yeah, something like that. I just different kind of like, trying to get into places that you're not supposed to be and just having fun and maybe being a little more antagonistic next time.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be sick, dude. I'm looking forward to, I don't know, whatever you end up coming up with in 2023. Do you ever like post any like clips on TikTok or anything? Do you like go that route?
I am not on TikTok.
Hell yeah.
Huge dub.
Huge.
I am not on TikTok. I am tempted more and more every day. And because I see the engagement that people get on it. But, and frankly, I think I'd be pretty good at it.
I feel like you would too. Yeah, that's why I was asking because I was like, I feel like she would do well on TikTok.
I feel very, I've always been very tech friendly and like really up on the like adopting new things quickly and figuring out software and stuff. But TikTok when it first kind of blew up, I felt this incredible feeling where it was the first time in my life that there was a new technology that I was like, I don't get this at all.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't understand what is going on here. I don't get the way that it's like I mean, I get it now, but like at the time, I was like, I don't get this. And I actually love that feeling. I felt old in like a good way. I was like, oh my God, finally I have peace.
I know,
like,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying desperately to like hold on to that. But I guess if Twitter fully goes down or Instagram like loses its mojo or whatever, I guess I'll have to. But
have to make the switch.
Yeah, I definitely I wouldn't want to use it for music stuff because I just think that I've seen musicians I know, no offense to anyone, but like it's kind of sad to watch people promote their music that way to me. And yeah, I don't know. It would be full clown. Or just like posting clips of shit that already exists.
Yeah, I feel like TikTok is, I don't know. I've found certain artists where it's like they're doing something completely different on TikTok, and then like just like looking into them more, it's like, oh, they make music. So I feel like that aspect would be kind of sick. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, there are a lot of people who like found me recently through those videos and the show.
Really? Yeah,
and,
that's what I want to ask too.
Found my music out from that, which is bizarre to me, but like it's cool.
Yeah.
I think maybe it gives some like what's the word? Authenticity to my angle or something, that I walk the walk or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you should have to do that to have an opinion about art, but yeah, it's a weird, I don't know. I really like beat myself up a lot for a long time about like being multifaceted, and I've only recently been able to kind of like get over that, and it's been very rewarding. So
that's cool. Do you
Nice.
think there's like a lot of crossover between I don't know, the people watching your skits and stuff?
Recently, yes.
That's interesting.
I have a friend in Dublin who promotes shows, and he was telling me about how like all the music people are trying to like do these alternative comedy shows now, and it's like all the rage there. And I kind of see that
really?
happening, where I just think like after COVID lockdowns and like the way that, I don't know, just after like the summer of 2020 and the sort of aftermath of all that, it's like there's just this like there's this need for like real authenticity and real vulnerability, and comedy I think is like such a shortcut to that for a lot of people who are very closed off, that it's like it can be very appealing in that way. And I just think that like taking yourself too seriously, it's just like, I don't know, it's like not as profitable as it was, say, 5-10 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like at least in like DIY and stuff, you can never take yourself like too seriously, I guess.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They did. I don't know. When I started posting comedy stuff again, I thought all these like musician pals or acquaintances online I have would be like, oh, what is she doing?
Yeah.
You know, Jesus, you know. But and maybe some of them did and are being silent, but a lot of people actually privately reached out and were like, oh wow, I've always wanted to do this. This seems so hard. And it's like, oh, actually everyone's just like scared. And it's like,
yeah, that's what I feel like it is.
People just silo themselves. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess because we're kind of talking about music, Maddie, should we jump into some of these questions about Kay's music?
We can. Oh, we got the thumbs up to go, and we love.
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about music the whole time. I mean, I'm happy to talk about whatever.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? TBD. We love. I mean, we love it all.
Cool.
But we will start at the very beginning. We always like to ask and go back kind of to the beginning of where artists begin with stuff. Time Warp has been around for a decade plus at this point. It's existed in various breadcrumbs and threads that one can find online. I think the most shocking thing to find was the old Boiler Room set where you're just vibing. There's a guy with the tank top just next to you also vibing. But to be correct, we don't care about that. We need to go back to the very beginning, back to the real teenage angst, fuck the system stuff.
Yeah.
And you were in a ska band. And what I need to know is, why do you think, so many people pivot from ska into modular synth minimalism?
Dude, there is a huge ska to like,
what's going on?
I don't know.
I love ska. We're here for it.
Well, I would first say that the ska element of those bands was only a facet of it. I wouldn't say I was like in a ska band.
Mhm.
It's more like I was in bands that were trying to be like Mr. Bungle and like switch genre every 5 seconds, and ska just happened to be one of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like ska bands around town that we would see though. But it was like, punk, funk, metal, ska.
But the Mike Patton stuff at least was really for you. I've kind of garnered.
Yes.
And I just recently got the Mr. Bungle tape and finally heard it and was blown away. That album
it's incredible. I mean, California is like a classic album to me. The way that they matured. Why do people? I mean, I feel like that's just like, I don't know. You're just a certain kind of kid, and you're just like, there's a certain alternativeness to it, and the branding of being different is like, this is a place that you end up in, and then you get a little older, and it's like the same thing. It's like you can make singer-songwriter stuff, or you can go and be a modular synth. Also, not to keep correcting you, but I don't really do modular that much.
I'm sorry. No,
I don't really do it. I mean, I like it. It's the kind of thing where I want a boy that is a nerd about it to have it already set up for me. And then I come over to his house and mess with it for like an hour, and I get a little fun recording out of it.
Yeah.
I don't really have, like, I know gear, but I just don't really have the interest in like collecting modules that are all $700.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like that'd be a very expensive hobby.
Yeah. I actually went on this modular synth podcast last year. And I don't mean to shit talk. I think it's cool, but it was kind of funny just being like, I don't really do that.
Yeah.
I'm more of a subtractive built-in keyboard synth kind of. Yeah.
That's it.
I had checked out that interview as well. And also all the office hour stuff on there. Big shout out to that. That's cool. I have kind of dipped out of that universe, but I loved the Tim on Cinema stuff immensely. So
amazing stuff. Yeah.
On
Cinema season 13 now playing on High Network.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out.
I should pick it up. I was watching the Oscar special recently, but it was the 2021 where Greg does the Joker makeup, and it's perfect. That's maybe some of the great Thomas. Get in and watch all of those. It is worth binging through.
I'm gonna have to, dude.
It sneaks up for the payoff. Again, though, I think what I guess I go back to with the Mike Patton stuff or maybe the ska is was there at least, did that kind of long-term give an influence of a frivolous sense of humor and whimsy into your music, you would say, especially on Hero World, which is probably the most fun you've had on a release I've heard from.
Wow, you're really diving in and getting the backstories here. That I agree. Yeah, I think actually I probably like ran away from that for a while because of the social media stuff I was talking about, and just sort of like the post dubstep UK to US and then house and techno scene, and just like, and there's some great music that came out of that, but just sort of like the way that the socially what it was not very whimsical. Let's just put it that way. And I think I buried that sense for myself for a long time, and yeah, and this is like the first time in a while where I feel like I've made something that I wasn't trying to do a scene or like, like try to fit into a scene or make something that like fits some kind of template or something. Yeah. I've told that to some people and they don't know what I'm talking about when they listen to it, but I hear it. Yeah, I mean, at least in terms of like understanding that you can have genreless or like thematically diverse projects within a record and still have a cohesive like sonic like
apparatus. Vision.
yeah you know what I mean. It's like there's not really like I wouldn't say there's like a genre all genre but there is like there's a sonic signature or whatever you want to call it. My friend Nina called the record Bimbo Jazz, so I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah. I think I had questions on that, but also I guess because yes, I'd seen the Bimbo Jazz label thrown out, which is a significant shift from anything that ever been signed to ECM or Blue Note. Those catalogs don't have that, and Leaving Records also doesn't have Bimbo Jazz on it. And even though it's it could be seen as seamless, the only thing you could really tether it to is like the fringe of ambient jazz, and even those albums, Spiral World is vibing on its own, kind of doing its thing. It's not Mark Tester's work. It's not a Nova Synfro's Space 1.8, but I see it. I could put
which are great records.
They are great records.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate that. I think that's very kind. I guess I don't really like those things are really going through my mind. Also, some of this stuff on the record is kind of old. Like there's a couple things in it that I made like years ago. But most of it was like in the last few years.
One of the pieces that is older, the No Furniture Tanagra. So the first part, if I'm getting this right, the first part of No Furniture dates back to about 2014.
How do you know all this stuff?
I read the Nadine Smith interview.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm sorry.
No, cool. No, I'm impressed. Yeah, that was in my first New York apartment, with no furniture in it.
And listening to the second part, though, this is again why I have the Steely Dan vinyl over here for my uncle. It sounds like Steely Dan.
Well,
I get a really funny Steely Dan vibe off of it, and I love it because it's like there's no ambient Steely Dan.
Yeah, I mean, is it even ambient?
Not really.
Yeah,
but you can just throw labels.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like the ambient tag has gotten really. I mean, I don't need to get into that too much, but
there's a nice Twitter thread. We don't have to go into that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just I just had Dan on the mind, I guess. I mean, it doesn't to me. I don't hear Steely Dan like from the way that it was made, but like after the fact, I can see why people latch onto. I mean, I'm a huge Dan head, so it's obviously like going to be an influence on some level. But I don't know. I mean, that whole track started with just guitar. It was just the guitar tracks.
Whoa.
But they're still in there. Like the demo guitar is still the guitar track in the piece. But all the like drums and woodwinds and all that stuff was like just added on later.
And then the other kind of part of the album that really sticks out to me, and I've talked about this with a friend online who kind of follows some of these different titles, it's tracks 2 and 3, Blue Prawn and TOTP, which compared to the rest of the album, they do fit in a very particular pace, but Blue Prawn's like the closest techno banger on the album. It's not even really techno, but the sound isn't quite returned to on the rest of the album. I'm wondering how you knew to sequence those two tracks.
The sequencing was actually really hard, more than other records I've done, and that track almost didn't end up on it. Well, I think it's more so that it's not that didn't end up on it as much as some of the singles in 2021 that we did with Leaving.
Yes.
Those were on the record initially. The record was longer.
Okay.
And I cut it down mostly just to fit it on a record, just because we couldn't afford to do a double vinyl, so it had to be 44 minutes at most. And I think with those other, like with the 10-year warranty on it and the ETGSS on it, it made more sense just because there were more drums, basically. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely an outlier. But it just, I don't know. I don't really know if I have like a reasoning. It's just, I played around with it forever and switched tracks around, and that's just what sounded right to me.
It happens.
Yeah. And TOTP is just, that actually is pretty old too. That was actually probably around this. Well, the initial demo was, that was probably also from the same time as No Furniture.
So how did you like come back to these like old pieces? Did you just like find an old hard drive or something and you're like, this is kind of sick?
No, I think every few months I end up going back and listening to stuff. Like I'll just kind of dip back in. So I've revisited those numerous times, and thought about like there's some stuff I listen to that's fun to listen to, but I'm like, this is never gonna come out. And then there's other stuff that's like, oh, I really wish I could like finish this. And for No Furniture, it was easy because I sort of had this other track that just happened to be in the same key, and I kind of was able to kind of Lego them together. But TOTP was I always knew I wanted to record drums, so that there's the electronic drums, and those are the originals, and then I wanted to like overdub them with live drums.
Nice.
And then when I started making the other tracks, all these woodwind parts started coming up, and I was like, oh, okay, I think that's the missing piece here, is like having a woodwind that's kind of like in conversation with the guitar. And like without that, I think it was a little more boring. But yeah. Shout out Jasper Dutz, amazing player.
Sick.
Nice.
Maddie, is there any other part that you want to go to, or should we ask about this last bullet point here?
Well, I at least got one other. Well, I'm assuming we're talking about the same bullet point. It kind of gets away from Spiro World into a different sphere here. Your time running a label in some capacity. Can you shine any light on that?
And
you don't even have to say the name.
I ran this label for about 8 or 9 years with a friend, and it started as like it kind of just came out of like fresh out of high school ambition, kind of trying to do it all, and like being sort of like, at the time I was really obsessed with like LA and what was going on there, and trying to like there it just seemed like there was like a real like scene that was happening in LA, and at the time I was in Boston, and there's just not really a lot happening in Boston, Massachusetts. So we wanted to host shows and DJ and play. So we started putting shows on, and then people eventually started asking us like when it was going to be a label, which was like kind of surprising to me at the time, but it seemed inevitable in the end. And then it just kind of changed into like this sort of more experimental label that we got more weirder and more chilled out over the years. And, it dissolved for like interpersonal reasons that I don't need to get too much into. But I also think it was like the timing worked out, because I think it was time to like get back to my own. Like, I think I was neglecting my own practice by just focusing so much on other people's work. And I don't know, there's like a couple people that were on the label that I still feel like, like you're so talented and you just need like a little someone else to kind of help you push it out. But I don't know, it was very rewarding, and it was very nice to flex my like design muscles and like marketing muscles and kind of like help out with the packaging and sort of like have like I don't know. I go back and forth because I feel like it's fun, but also in a way there is this kind of like fascistic controlling aspect of like wanting to all your artwork to fit this template and like owning and collecting people's work, and like as a label owner, like getting the sense that you like when I started noticing that like collector
I could
mindset,
see that.
It's like you feel really bad and guilty. And I think when I've worked with people as an artist, I think that's something I'm like highly aware of, is like
if they see you as like a collector's item rather than like wanting to help you.
It's like, is this a clout thing, or like a diversity hire kind of thing? Or like like what are you trying to get out of this? And, or are you actually engaged with the work on this level? And I don't know, like people like leaving, it's like I've done Matthew David for like over a decade, so that was like easier to
were you when you were doing Spiro World, did you know like I think this is going to end up on Leaving Records? Were you trying to shop it to other places?
No comment, but no, I'm kidding. No, I knew. No, we had talked about it. I sent him an early version. It was kind of like it was set that it was going to be happening.
Oh, tight.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually like some of my earlier stuff we were going to maybe do.
Oh wow. Okay.
a few years ago, and it just like the timing didn't work out. So this was kind of inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah. That's sick, dude.
I was just kidding about the no comment. That was just a joke.
Matthew David kills it. He puts out all kinds of sick stuff. Yeah, Leaving's really cool. I think that your record is a good fit for Leaving. From a listener aspect, I guess. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of everything they put out.
Yeah.
I have the Mari tape on the ground next to me. I brought that to Texas, and I've been listening to that, driving my grandma's car around.
The Maurice?
Yes, I have.
Okay, yeah.
I got this one.
Strawberries, yeah.
Yeah.
Great record.
Hell yeah.
Great record. That, the Moral, and yours. They're all there on the Tabs Out list. They're going to be there this year.
Heck yeah.
I love them deeply.
Okay, should we roll into this next one here?
Thomas, I think we might be at the end, if I'm being honest.
Keep it going, baby. Whatever you got, throw it at me.
I guess we have run through everything, huh?
We run a clean ship. We had a clean set. We could, again, we kind of have alluded to, yes, plans for 2023.
Yeah.
If there is anything else that you're looking, you think we're going to get a Spiro World, the 2 LP deluxe edition?
If you want to pay me $5,000, yeah.
I wish I
We're
could.
bringing
I'll do it tomorrow.
Hey, once TBD takes off, we're coming back for
right
time
now. We're in
Yeah. I am. Okay. Well, the show is going to keep going. I might be doing some films, like shorts and
that's
stuff.
sick.
Not my films, like other people's.
Yeah.
And musically, I am trying to go to Europe in the spring. I think that's going to probably happen.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to tour the US, but financially it's really hard to do right now.
So how would you afford Europe? Would you be staying in like hostels and stuff with your gear? Like, what would you be up to?
Well, in Europe, they value these things called the arts, and the government actually will pay curators and promoters to put on shows.
Dude,
so
that is so sick.
Higher
That's awesome.
in Europe. Yeah. And it's just easier to get around.
Mhm.
You know.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
I'll probably stay in a hostel, but I don't know. I'm not 21 anymore, so it probably not.
Yeah,
not to be a picky bitch, but it's like I kind of want to just stay in a hotel. It's a lot of work to just travel
vibe.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Europe. I would like to. I would like to do the U.S. at least like the East Coast. I'm going to Philly in February. They're doing like a show. That's actually like the first time I've mixed music and comedy within a show itself, which should be interesting.
Sick. Yeah.
I'm just playing music, but the show is like a variety show.
That's cool.
I'm working on a record for long form editions.
Oh, dude, hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's sick.
Spilled the beans there. And then after, I'm doing some film scores.
Nice.
So those will be all probably next year or 2024, whenever that comes out. A couple shorts and a feature. And then I'm gonna work on another record.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
That makes sense.
Which will be very different, very very different.
I'm excited to hear what you come up with.
When was the last time you had done a U.S. tour? At least West Coast. I know for that one.
West Coast. I did L.A.
Mm-hmm.
But West Coast tour? Jesus.
If at all a US tour.
Yeah, have you ever toured the US? Like for
Yeah. It's been a while. I would say the last West Coast run, or just at all a run, would be probably 2013.
Wow, that is a long time ago.
With Baths.
Dude, that's sick.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Baths is great.
Yeah, that was fun. It was the Obsidian tour.
Yep. My friend who heard Spiro World online that I talk music with, he's a big Baths head.
Yeah. Love Bath, love Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably with Baths, or like I did some dates with Sunny Moon like almost 10 years ago as well.
So were you
it's been a while.
Were you performing Time Warp, or were you like a musician in these people's bands or something?
It was Time Warp set.
Okay, that's sick. Cool.
It was more like when I was doing like controllerism, like beats stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's one of the many breadcrumbs that you alluded to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been all East Coast since then. I mean, trying to think. We did that tour with Teebs, but I don't think we did the West Coast.
Oh, wow. Teebs also had a really good 2019 album. Gotta commend that. That was one of my favorite little KCSB things that got sent to the station.
Mhm.
I didn't listen to that. Maybe I'll go listen to that today.
Heck yeah. Well, where can people...
Touring is expensive and hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can only imagine in the past decade, that's, I guess, the reason why we bring it up. It's just we're fans. Thomas books shows in Ventura for DIY acts, especially stuff on the Flenser sometimes. I'm just a fan who'll drive up for stuff. And reading every article and all the crap this year has been really harrowing and heartbreaking. And it's good to at least know in Europe there is something there.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not like profit hungry. I just want to not lose $1,000 to like have a week of,
I feel you. And it's like lately too, that's one of the reasons why like I love Twitter is because like there's that big, like, I don't know, shine a lot of light on like how expensive touring is and like how feasible it is.
Saga.
Yeah, exactly. The Wednesday saga.
And a bunch of fucking chud ass bitches being like, women should sleep in Walmart parking lots.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah. And then just recently too, did you guys see the one about like the rider too, where did you see that one where like the emo band like wanted to stay like, they sent a rider to like, a DIY booker or something like that. And the booker was like, yeah, I can't believe they asked me for like hotel rooms. I told them no. And it's like, well, they kind of just don't want to sleep on the floor, dude. But like, I mean, I see why, a DIY booker couldn't give them hotel rooms, but like, I also see why they would ask, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, like maybe people's standards have risen a little since like the 90s, but also though maybe they were a little too low to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like unsafe for me to stay at a stranger's house. I just like, I'm not, it's like, that's not me being privileged or exaggerating. Like, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when someone complains about that stuff, it's like, it shows a lot more about them than about the band.
Yeah.
It can be especially hard for DIY bands just looking for a house or for somewhere to stay, and especially in a place where it's not going to be safe. They don't know anybody. And
I mean, that's a big reason why my music evolved the way it did too, is just like financially and logistically, like it's hard to do things with like 5 people if you don't have a lot of money. And so doing it yourself is easier.
Yeah. Well, all right. Where can people keep up with all things Time Warp and K Loggins?
Follow my linked tree. Twitter, Instagram. I have different handles for them. Time Warp is the Twitter, and then USA_KAYE is my Instagram. And I think that's about it, right? What else is, I'm not on TikTok, as we said.
Are you on LinkedIn?
I am not on LinkedIn. I've never been on LinkedIn. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get on there. It's so good.
LinkedIn.
I'll leave you with this. I was at a taqueria at like 4 a.m. This summer. And there were these like guys and girls I guess they were like visiting from like Long Island or something in the city for the weekend. And they were pretty drunk, sounds like. I mean, I was pretty drunk, but they were pretty drunk. And I was waiting for my food outside. And the 2 guys like kind of had this side conversation with each other. And he was like, bro, like, can you believe LinkedIn? Like, they wanted me to put my pronouns on it now. I gotta.
Sounds about right.
I gotta say he, him. and honestly, my response was, "Hey, buddy, nobody's happy about this." Okay, like all that tells me is that LinkedIn is still a thriving business, and I don't like that.
Yeah. So. God damn.
Are you on Nextdoor by chance or Foursquare?
No.
Straight boomer central, dude.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and that's gonna, and Letterboxd. That's the other one.
Hell
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd. That's what I need, more Letterboxd followers.
How about
what's the good film? What's the best film of 2022 here?
Best film of 2022
goes to Letterboxd.
I mean, I actually didn't watch a ton of movies until like later in the year. Well, the two best film, I said this on Instagram, the two best films I saw are actually Friends films. And I'm not just like trying to suck their dicks. I just like, I genuinely thought they were the best movies I saw. And they're both going to be available next year. One is a comedy called Dad or Stepdad. Tynan DeLong, Colin Burgess, Anthony Eberbeck. And then another is my friend Matt's documentary, Cash Cow. Which is about him like going camping during COVID, and he visits Mormon historical sites. It's hilarious. Besides that, okay, all right, here I'll give you an answer for a film I saw that was like a wide release new movie. The best movie I saw was, oh God, this isn't good. This is not good. What am I going to say?
They're not 5 baggers. Oh, no, they're not.
No, they're 5 bagger. I mean, everything's a 5 bagger in my book. God, I don't want to say Tar.
My parents saw Tar and they loved it.
I mean, it was fine. It was fine. Okay. If not for Tar and not for Dad or Stepdad, I'm going to say it's a tie for me between Weird, the Al Yankovic story,
hell yeah,
and Russia 1985 to 1999 Trauma Zone by Adam Curtis.
Whoa, oh, there's new Adam Curtis. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta go check that out. I just saw Babylon. It was bad. Made me want to
I saw Babylon yesterday.
Did it make you want to punch Damien Chazelle?
You know, Whiplash is one of my favorite movies. So it really hurt. It really hurt. I thought it was awful. And I also think that the Union Square busker jazz sax dubstep band Too Many Zoos, that is a viral jazz busker band, deserves $1 million check, because that entire score was just ripping off of that viral.
Oh really?
You know, the guy's like got a huge sax and it's just like
I was worried about the soundtrack. I thought like, oh God, is this going to be as bad as what they did with Jay-Z and The Great Gatsby? And it was better than that. But then my mom's like, wait, isn't Justin Hurwitz just doing the same thing he did on La La Land? And I was like, oh, it's still bad.
Some people were saying that there's literal motifs from La La Land that they reused.
Oh, yes, really?
I've actually never seen La La Land, so I don't know. But I loved Flea. I loved the spunky director girl character, the like Greta Gerwig ass character.
Yes, she was great.
I loved the practical elephant anus. Hated the movie. And the ending was one of the worst endings I've seen in a long time.
I looked over at my mom and I was like ready to walk out. I should have ordered an extra beer for that movie. I'm angry I did. She got the extra wine glass.
What is this called? Babylon? I need to watch it. It was that bad?
It's like a fanfic of Singing in the Rain, basically.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I'm so glad somebody else saw Babylon, and I feel vindicated.
I saw it yesterday. I have a friend that works at Alamo Drafthouse, so I didn't pay to see it. I'll just say that.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I think the best movie I saw in 2022 was that Everything Everywhere All at Once. I felt like that was pretty good.
Well, I thought you were talking about 2022 movies.
Wasn't that 2022?
Oh, no, that was last year. I saw it this year, and that was probably my favorite. That or I watched Licorice Pizza last week.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That movie was pretty good, Licorice Pizza.
Those were better than those other ones I said.
Dude,
I was talking about new movies from this year.
The only thing I felt that was weird about Licorice Pizza, I actually watched that on that 10-hour flight I was talking about. But I just felt like the age thing was weird.
Yes. I'm also a musician who is also an actress, and I also like boys, and I also once laid in a waterbed with a Sly and Charming one time, but like not in a weird or problematic way. Like I would never do that.
Paul Thomas Anderson is able to get away with it in that movie. He just is. He just is. It's wild. It also cracks me up because the character that he has in that film is totally going to turn into a director who's shooting Porn in the Valley by the end of the decade. He's like on that track to do. He's on that track to become one of the guys in Boogie Nights. And I kind of commend him for being able to like really walk a fine line with the tone. But My mom grew up in the 70s as well, and she loved licorice pizza because she saw that.
Speaking of Babylon and Boogie Nights,
Oh,
Babylon, Boogie Nights scene, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock, but this time it's Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire plays Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights.
Yep.
In that scene, right?
I've seen
Whoa.
the three directors that Babylon is trying to ape really hard are PTA and Quentin Tarantino and Scorsese, and Damien Chazelle can't be any three of them, and ends up making the most hollow spectacle
He's
of
a
your
fucking nerd.
Fucking nerd.
Anyways, we have one last question here. It's kind of the biggest one of the show. Are you ready for it, Kay?
Yes.
Okay. Maddie, do you want me to take it?
I'll go for it.
Okay.
So you just got invited back to the Alamo Draft House for free to see Babylon yet again into the 4D version with extra action rumbles and all kinds of stuff. And during the elephant scene, they actually just bring out a bunch of rats for some reason. And tragically, it's a white lab rat, really sweet little guy, but he does run up to you and he's gonna jump in your mouth. And you get the choice: head or butt, and why.
Was this a pre-written question?
Oh yeah. Well, no, Maddie improvs that part, the whole story. But
okay, so a rat. It's okay, so it's 4D like Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Yes,
And
yes,
they release
just like
actual,
that.
and they release actual rats, and the rat's jumping into my mouth. Head or butt first?
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Head.
Why?
I don't fucking know. I don't have to think about the butt as much.
That's true. Yeah.
Wait, am I swallowing the rat whole?
No.
It's your destiny, so you get to
Your
choose.
destiny.
Oh, it's
It's
just
okay.
jumping into my mouth.
Yeah, and you decide
It's
what
just
happens
jumping.
next.
Well, then I could have the head jump in and then remove that afterwards.
Yeah,
and I
hell
don't
yeah.
have any butt in my mouth.
Yeah, God bless.
Absolutely.
I actually don't mind rats.
They're kind of cute. And
Yeah.
yeah.
When I feel like a kind of a weirdo, but when I see them on the street in New York, sometimes I'm like, oh,
Dude. Okay, street rats freak me out though sometimes. Like I'll
I
just
think
be
they're kind of cute. I mean, they're nasty. Sure, I don't want to touch them or anything, but
Yeah.
like, they're fine. They're just living their lives.
they're just vibing for sure. They're just trying
You're
to
gonna get reincarnated as a street rat for saying that.
I know, huh? I probably will be.
A blessed one, though.
Yeah.
Remember.
Hopefully a white lab rat, like a nice fluffy one that gets taken care of or something.
Hmm.
Or no, I could be one of those, dude. If I were a rat, I would want to be that one, that viral video of like the huge fat street rat pulling the pizza down the stairs in the subway. I think that was in Chicago
yeah.
or something. I want to be like that. Master Splinter.
That's man on the town.
Yeah.
Turn man on.
All right. Well, I guess that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. and NetNet Radio every Saturday, 4 p.m. This has been Kay Loggins from Time Warp. Thanks so much, Kay. That was so much fun.
Thank you.